Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your friends in recovery.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Friends in Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with my two co-hosts, Buckeye, Bambi, and who the fuck? Busy Beth today. I have to move the screen to see what's going on. What's up, ladies? It's been a while since I've been here.
We've been here.
We've been here.
You've both been here. I know. And I kind of
thanks to Bambi, I showed up.
I know. I was out in the Bahamas and Bermuda and Key Largo and Costa Rica.
I hear it. No, I hear it. No,
right.
Wasn't that the Bee Gees?
Beach Boys.
No,
Beach Boys. Thank you.
Boys. That's right. Let's see. We have our special guests here is Dan M and Jill C is going to join us here in a minute. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. But before that, guys, if you need to make a phone call to us, not you guys, the people out there, if you guys want to make a phone call to us, our phone number is 800-989-6504. You can email the whole show at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast, or below is our email addresses individually. Beth,
don't email me.
Self, and you can email us directly. I was told we still are doing the hearts. Obviously, they're not up where we changed everything. So if you can remember, purple hearts for Bambi, black hearts for Beth, blue hearts for Jersey Ed. Just put them in the comments below and let's get some of those comments going. And if you'd like to give our two special guests hearts, give them red hearts. So that's it with the hearts. I do want to thank Carl and Chelsea for not speaking about Friends in Recovery on the past couple shows. I really appreciate it, guys. So we are not going to say anything about Soberpod. We're not going to say anything about go over to the left coast and go listen to Soberpod. And yeah, no, I don't know what's going on over there. I think, and I don't think they like us anymore. Have you guys heard from them or anything? Yeah, I don't know. Carl's giving me the cold shoulder. Yeah, it's been like that, guys. I don't know.
Dude, what's the tea? Like, what happened? What did you do, Ed?
Yeah, what did you do, Ed?
I'm a big fan. You guys know that. You guys, I'm going to run 21 miles tomorrow, right? And I have to catch up on a bunch of shows. And I am going to listen to Carl and Chelsea for a couple hours. Now, that's how dedicated I am. I don't even listen to this show, ladies. I just don't. I can't stand hearing my voice. I can't stand the guests we have. No, I can't stand my co-hosts. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Me, he can't stand Bambi. Everybody loves you.
That's right. No. They just haven't been talking about us. So we'll see what happens. But you know what? We are going to push his book, 366 fucking days sober. If anybody has one in here, bring it up. And there you go. If you guys are watching on YouTube, there you are.
Has mine.
Go buy it. There it is. Dan has his too, man. We have them. We have those books all over the place.
That's right.
Carl, all kidding aside, this book is an amazing book. 366 fucking days sober. I think if you go to soberpod.com, you can go over and click the link and it'll take you right to Amazon, or just go to Amazon and I don't know if you could put 366 fucking days in there, but whatever. Just give it a shot and tell us what happens.
Just look in the show notes. I put it in.
Oh yeah, you put it in the show notes. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, guys, so that's it. I do. No, I can't. No, forget it. That's I was going to bring up Chris Cudahy, but this show can go a million different ways. So, anyways,
I love Chris.
I know I love Chris too. He recommended a couple podcasts to me. So, but the new podcast I am talking about, guys, now is Jay Shetty is On Purpose. I don't know if I spoke on this yet, but it reminds me of I don't think he's in recovery. It reminds me of recovery, of all the personal. He's very much into personal development. He wrote a book, Think Like a Monk, and I actually was at a conference this week. And I seen him. I met him. I didn't meet him, but I was like right there, front stage. I'll have I'll put a picture up in the comments, and he was right there, and he's just kind of one of my idols, or whatever you want to call it, who's somebody who I look up to. I'm a mentor. He's really, really good. So it's called On Purpose, his podcast. It's an amazing podcast. And I when I do my long runs, I listen to him every week too. So go check out On Purpose. And he was over at the Global Exchange Conference down in Orlando this past week. Yeah. And we had a great time. So I think that's about it. No more podcast, no more nothing. I think it's about time to introduce Jill and Dan. They're colleagues of mine. They wanted to come on the show. Why? I have no fucking idea, but they'll find out why in a little bit, why they don't want to be on here. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, guys, here. We're going to talk about some stuff, maybe what we do at work. I know Dan is really into something that's called NIT, nature informed therapy. I know we were going to talk about stuff for the holidays too coming up. Maybe we can kind of lump all that in. But before we do that, guys, if you're on YouTube, take a look at Beth's office. Look how professional she looks. Last time I remember her, she was lounging on the couch with the microphone, eating popcorn. I think the microphone was upside down.
What's wrong with lounging on the couch?
Yeah, Bambi's lounging on the couch now. It's Bambi's turn.
Couch.
There you go. Well, you do it gracefully. Beth was like falling over shit. I think she fell off the couch twice, right? I think the dog jumped up on you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a shit
Life
show.
is messy.
Yes,
Listen,
it is.
Life is messy.
It's lifing.
But your sounds wonderful.
Thank you. I put up curtains, and I'm getting a rug so that I don't annoy people more than just my content.
So the annoyance factor of Beth is going down rapidly, ladies and gentlemen. So tune back in. It's going to be a great show. We love you, Beth. No, seriously, all kidding aside, we got Jill C and Dan M. Again, like I said, they're colleagues of mine, and I talk to them almost probably every day, give or take every day. If it's work, if it's recovery, if it's just, to get the shit out, to just kind of, go back and forth and just, kind of, just be human again, and I get a lot from you guys as far as all that goes. Also, they are big in our friends and recovery community. Jill hosts a bunch of meetings. Dan is getting there. I think he might be hooked. It's this close. He's getting there. So, but Dan and Jill, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming on. Dan, I mentioned something NIT, and people are probably saying, "What the fuck is that?" And even if I said nature informed therapy, people are like, "Okay, well, what is that?" And when we implemented it at our facility, I was like, "What is that?" So you want to tell us a little bit about it, because I know you're doing a lot of it for the facility.
Yes, so the nature-informed therapy, and it goes hand in hand with, like you said, with this holiday coming up and having gratitude. So the first thing with the nature-informed therapy is having like a land acknowledgement, where it's to recognize the land as an expression of like gratitude and appreciation to those whose territory that you're residing on. And a way of honoring the indigenous land that you're on, and getting to like learn about the trees around you and your surroundings, so that when you go out and you're walking into the woods and that you're taking that time to meditate, or you're hiking, that you're just more in touch with nature. So if you just take 5 minutes out of your day to begin, you don't want to start anything too fast. To go out there and, do a sit spot. Just say you sit down in the middle of a field or the middle of the woods. You have no distractions. Mm-hmm. You have a pen and paper, and you write down what you hear, what you see, what you feel. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's just a grounding exercise with nature that you can start off with something very small.
So anybody can do this, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, and you work your way up, like it can get to a point where you can have a trauma response in nature, where you get to a point where you go to a tree, the tree calls to you, walking through the woods, and you find a tree that you want to sit down and eat your lunch with. So you ask the tree, "Can I sit here?" You sit down, you eat your lunch, and you have a conversation with that tree. You touch the tree. You ask the tree about their trauma, because all the trees that we see around us are all regrowths from past traumas. Everything that's here has been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's sustained multiples of traumas over and over again. So, and these are all emotions that we also feel. And that's just another way for humans to connect with nature. And
is that like earthing? Like I've been definitely like connecting in with earthing over the past, I want to say this year, probably the whole year, like earthing, like putting your physical body, taking your shoes off, taking everything off, and actually your skin touching the ground. And that what is the electric? Grounding. But the electric, like there's like energy coming up through Earth. And it's actually, they've done studies that, ever since the sneaker has come onto the market in the 70s, people have been losing touch with that. Is an ionic charge? Like what is that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the nature informed therapy gives you a chance to get away from all the screens, the technology, not just putting like clients or yourself in a room watching, group therapy on the screen, clients being outside, or myself or whoever, just giving us a chance to enjoy nature. Like kids don't even go out and play no more. And I think that bringing that into, what we do every day, I think it's going to be very successful.
But what are the actual benefits, guys? I mean, what are the touted benefits? If I'm a client there, what do you tell them they're going to get from doing this?
So these are mindfulness exercises. So these bring you to the present. These are exercises that you can go out there. You can do a trauma dump on if you feel that connection with that tree, you can go out there and if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling stress, and you have that connection and you've made that connection when you've went outside, you can always go out there and make that connection again. If you feel heightened, if you feel any type of response that you're not comfortable with.
Dan, did you say trauma dump?
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
So, in the field that we work in, once you're coming off of a detox, you get those emotions back, and, you're not used to feeling sadness. You're not used to crying. You're not used to being upset. So you're going from real low lows to real high highs, so you might just flare up and all of a sudden all these emotions are coming out. But if you've came out to the group where you have sat and ate lunch with this tree and you've made that connection, or you have done grounding exercises out in nature, or you've done a nature mandala with rocks or sticks, or you've done a family tree out of things you found in nature, and you've put your family together with items that you found out in nature the way that you want it to be. If you've done any of those exercises and that comforted you in that moment, you'll go back to that because it makes you feel good, and it doesn't cost anything.
Well, I like what you said, comfort you in that moment. And there's a lot of things when you first get into recovery, even if you're like me, all these years in recovery or a few years in recovery, there's times that it's not comfortable. There's times that, you're looking for that comfort. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going to bring up Friends and Recovery Adventures here. When I get off that river or that camping trip, that like the winter camping trips that we do, when I get off of that, I am connected. I am tuned in. I feel like completely different. Now you're talking, well, the last kayak trip was 50 miles. I think the first one was like 100 miles. You figure you want to go home, you're done, it's over with. No, it's just, it's exhilarating. It's just connecting again. It's different. Everything we touch and do, and it's plastic or metal or, things that are reflecting all this energy from who we are. When our brains are millions and millions of years old, right? And they're not all this stuff around us, this podcast, probably these headphones, our bodies, our brains weren't meant to do this. So in turn, and I'm not speaking from a scientific or a medical standpoint. This is just my feeling on it, that our brains are so disconnected because of everything on top of these things, on top of the TV, the computers that we're on right now. There's no wonder why we're all full of anxiety. And when
right.
I do take my phone on these trips, but there's barely any cell service, so I'm not really connected. And the other thing, guys, you guys remember when I was doing the Screenless Sundays, I did not connect with anything as far as screens go. And that's a huge difference. So I can understand it, Dan, and Jill, where when you're in a detox or you're in a treatment center, and like you said, you're getting heightened or you don't understand, we get these feelings, right? I mean, I know in all those years when I was using, there was never no feelings because I just smashed them down. And I can see how this works. Now, Dan, I do want to, and Jill, jump in here too, because you're kind of there when all this goes on. You said, and I don't mean this in a weird way or whatever, but there's people out there when you say connect with a tree, like the fuck's this guy talking about? Connect with the tree. It sounds really weird. It sounds crazy.
Tree hugger. Yeah,
seriously,
right.
A tree hugger. This guy's probably whatever. He probably drives a what do they
Prius?
Prius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
you drive a Prius, Dan?
I do not.
Excellent.
He has a Ford Excursion that it just sucks down gas. No, just kidding.
He's got a few different cars, but I'm glad you brought that up because I'm listening to him, and from the outside looking in, I would think, what a freak, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not saying he's not a freak.
Yeah, that's not.
I don't know if he is or not.
You're right.
Beth, how do you know, Beth?
I know things.
Is it
so for a little while? I know things.
Is it the name? Is it the name that's connected?
It's the name. My husband's name is Dan.
So every Dan must be a freak. So there you go.
I understand that.
And there's two of them. He is the identical twin. We're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, God. So listen. Here's what
I says. Listen, motherfucker.
Yeah. So here's what I can say. Right.
That makes the tree thing way cooler.
Yeah. At the end of the day, and everyone normally hears this in treatment. Take what works and leave what doesn't. But until you try it, you can't say it's not for you. When from a personal experience and from when I got trained in doing this. I had the same outlook. I was like, man, there's no way, I'm a big guy. I'm tatted up. I'm like, I'm going to sit with this fucking tree and I'm going to have a response to it. What I'm telling you is I went into this with an open mind and I sat with this tree. I had a conversation. I got grounded. I felt the tree. I felt I asked it questions, and the first answer that comes back to you when you ask it a question is the answer. Mm-hmm. Whether you're asking you're not going to ask it, when am I going to get married? Does this person love me? That's not the questions that you're going to ask this, that's not it. It's, these are going to be questions like, what can I do to improve my life? Or am I going to feel better at the end of this? And if it's a yes or a no, that's going to be it. it can't decide your life choices for you, but
Yeah. No, yeah, you can't pick the lottery numbers or anything like that.
yeah,
Right.
So I see a bunch of crosses on your back wall there.
yeah.
Now, to me, this sounds like just another thing, maybe a higher power, the universe, kind of connecting, So I connect with my God every morning, and,
Mhm.
I say my prayers, I meditate, I thank, whatever it is, I connect. But do you think that's part of it? Is it a
I mean,
kind
it
of a higher
doesn't.
power thing?
For
I
me,
think it is too.
it can be whatever it needs to be for whoever does it. It depends on the person. The nature could be a higher power for somebody if they choose that to be their higher power. Just like in meetings, they say the doorknob can be your higher power if that's what you need it to be right now. So, I mean, I talk to mine every morning, just like you do. That's why they're hanging there. But yeah, so.
And why a tree, Dan? I mean, are there other things? Is that just one of the things? I mean, because like I live near the ocean, and that's where I find my peace. When I go sit on the
Yeah.
ocean and I hear the waves, and I mean, I can just like totally zone out with the ocean.
Yeah,
And that's what it is, Dan. It could be anything. It could be a leaf,
Yeah.
it could be water, it could be a
Yeah.
rock, it could be anything
Oh,
nature
okay.
informed therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably using tree. That was in the training. Maybe that's what he does. For
Mhm.
me, Bambi, it would be the water as well,
Mhm.
ocean. And I think it's just a place to go meditate and be able to release any stress. I've seen clients come back, from a hike for nature informed therapy, exhausted, draining, because they are releasing this trauma, working through it. However, whatever they're doing or whoever they're talking to, it could be the deer out in the field. It could be anything of, could be acorns, whatever they choose to be.
Or Buckeyes? Could be Buckeyes.
It could be Buckeyes.
Yeah, it's gotta be something in nature.
Well,
Yeah.
no, Buckeyes. Buckeyes are
Buckeyes.
nature. They're poisonous.
Here's
nuts,
our
right?
nature.
Well, that could be it then.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
There you
I
go.
actually, when I had 10 years sober, somebody turned me on to the Native American medicine cards. And it's all about spirituality through animals, right? So if ant has crossed your path today, it's asking you to be a part of, it's asking you to gather things and to work as a team. And it's so interesting because I have this groundhog in my backyard and it keeps bringing me the message. Like literally I'll be feeling what's going on and it'll show up.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like I was having issues with God when I moved back to New Jersey from Charlotte, and real serious issues with God. And the deer kept coming in my front yard. I do not live in the country. I live in suburbia hell. Yeah. And this deer kept coming. And the spiritual lesson of deer is gentleness to God, right? Gentle path to God. So it's like that. And, it's interesting too, that you talked about indigenous people, that indigenous people have wellbriety, where they take the 12 steps and they turn them into the circle, and the circle then is represented through the seasons.
Right.
And it's all nature. It's all nature. So apparently I am a tree hugger, talker, lover, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even know it.
Because I have a cardinal in my backyard and a rabbit, but cardinal's my spirit animal. And I too just moved here from Charlotte for this job probably about 18 months ago, maybe 17 months ago. And when I got here to Pennsylvania, this rabbit and cardinals always come to me when I go outside and sit, even when I'm going through a stressful moment, or I just want to have a few minutes. This bird is out there. So I do believe that, it's coming from my higher power. They're giving me the answer.
Well, let me ask you, Jill, what is it that when this bird or this, whatever, what else did you say comes around?
Rabbit.
So what does it draw? What draws you to it? What's it? I guess what's it saying to you? Like Dan said.
I guess when I'm thinking in my head, or I'm asking God, that's my higher power. Like for some answers, the bird shows up, and I know everything's going to be okay. And sometimes if the bird's not there, maybe I have to do a little more work, you know?
Well, I'll read you what Rabbit says real quick.
Okay.
157. Hold
That
on.
would be under Bugs Bunny.
Oh, and they don't eat carrots. They just eat the tops. I just learned that from Dan.
Really?
Oh yeah, they do. Okay. If here's the lesson. If you pulled Rabbit, or if you're seeing Rabbit, stop talking about horrible things happening and get rid of what if in your vocabulary. The card may signal a time to worry about the future or trying to exercise your control over that which is not yet informed the future. Stop now. Write your fears down and be willing to feel them. Breathe into them and feel them running through your body into Mother Earth as a giveaway.
Wow.
Jill, man, does it say Jill C after that? 'Cause that's fucking you, Jill. That's definitely you.
Ed is my coach, and that was on point 100%.
Wow.
It's because it's Rabbit. I'm telling you, it's Rabbit.
The rabbit, Dan, can you back me up with the rabbit?
Yeah.
The rabbit has been, I'm telling you, the rabbit wouldn't move when I took the weed whacker outside.
Wow.
Rabbit would not budge when I was like this close to it. He wouldn't move. He was like, I'm staying here. I'm here for a reason.
Yep.
So I really believe in it. And the Cardinals, I've always loved Cardinals, you know, but they don't show up as much as that rabbit's been showing up.
So you're talking about Cardinals here, and Beth, if you can look up Cardinals, I was told that it's somebody from
who's dead,
past, right? Yeah. So every time rewind all the way back 29 years ago, I lived at my grandmother's house. She told me 2 weeks. It ended up being 3 years, and it was a great place to be. But that's where I started my running career. That's where I started career, whatever you want to call it. That's where my running started. And she would sit on the front porch. I would go out running, come back. Hey, Ed, how far did you run? How do you feel? It didn't matter every single time. So she passed on, years and years ago. And I started seeing a cardinal every time I ran. I do not see cardinals any other time except for when I'm running. I thought maybe it was something up in Pennsylvania. I come down here, I see at least 2 or 3 cardinals. And when I'm running, I just say, hey, Nan, how you doing? I'm going 10 miles. Say, hey, Nan, how you doing? I'm going 20, whatever it is. And so I feel that she's with me through that cardinal and all that. So I don't know.
So here it says, and I think this is interesting what I know of you, Ed. And I don't know you well, Jill, except other than we're apparently twins from Jersey, lived in Charlotte.
And the Cardinals for my boyfriend. I moved here because he passed away in Charlotte.
Okay. Well, here's Cardinal. Cardinal's spiritual meaning is one of a fight against insecurities. It is a push by a loved one from the beyond. So you keep striving towards self-empowerment and reaching your goals. It says that cardinal sightings should be considered the ultimate reassurance for those struggling with insecurities. And I think that that's interesting that you're seeing the cardinal and the rabbit, right? So insecurities and fear
go hand in hand. Yep.
I just got the shivers all
I did too. I did too.
And Ed, you better complete that next marathon because Nana is pushing you.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely out there. Yeah. There better be a ton of Cardinals out there tomorrow when I'm going to run because it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. But no, it's, I guess it's however we connect. I guess it's however we feel at the moment. And again, guys, it's nature. It's what's been here for millions of years. Not this water bottle. This is not connecting. I'm not connecting.
That will be here for a million years.
It will be here for a million years. But the other thing, guys, the water that's in it, and nobody realizes it, that the water that's in it is nature too. It's and that's something that, think about it. If you don't drink water, right? And Jill and Dan were in a meeting that we just did about water and all kinds of things. You're really not connecting with nature. Number one, I feel, and a lot of people agree with me. And Dan, we had this conversation yesterday. The first thing you do when you wake up is you drink water. right? So it connects you. First of all, you lose a lot. You lose a pint of water every night you sleep. It's true. You can look it up.
That's crazy.
The internet told me they don't lie on the internet. But yeah, you lose a pint of water every time you sleep. And then it connects you immediately with nature, right? It's water sustains
That's interesting.
life. It sustains life. Without water, you're gonna die. And
thirsty.
You can live about
thirsty. I had to get my water.
But that's another way of connecting. You don't necessarily have to like go out, right? And maybe some people live in a city and they're like, well, where do I find a park? Where do I find a tree?
Right.
The squirrels or whatever. I mean, that's another way is sitting there and enjoying a glass of water, right? I mean, that's part of connecting, I guess. You know what?
On that note, Ed, we got to get going, man. Maybe we can pick this up. Can we do a 2-part show?
Sure, absolutely. We can come back, bring Dan and Jill back, and we talk a little bit more. I know you have to go get your Botox done, right, Beth? Is that why we have to go?
The fuck?
That would be me, Ed.
I'm sorry.
Jersey girls don't need Botox.
No, the real reason why you got to go is because I ran out of quarters and I can't put the quarters in the Zoom machine, so we have to go get new quarters.
We got to stop this right now.
Ed, I thought we were getting Botox.
and
free Botox for everybody, right?
Free Botox.
That's right.
Oh, honey, I'm a big I believe in it,
guys. So we're gonna come back. We'll get into we'll keep going with this topic. We'll bring you guys back in. But for now, guys, a great show. Maybe when we come back, guys, let's think of our spiritual animal when we come back to the show. And you guys, out there listening, when you listen to this next week, why don't you come up with your spiritual animal so we can, kind of all connect and all that. So, what we say, guys.
Well, wait, Ed, we have to say something else first.
Well, what do we have to say?
We have to say Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
Everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your day and check in. We'll have an update next week for you guys. I think maybe, right, guys?
They don't burst at the table.
Stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.